Yeah. Well, we had 4 project bids. This is the only one we negotiated with. Just like we did on the house hazmat.
Good evening. It is Monday night, February 6th. I will open this City Council meeting and advise you first of all that for some reason I'm not on, am I?
No.
Is it? Am I?
No.
Now? Okay. All right. I will inform you that this is an Open Meeting Act, and posted in the northwest corner of this room is the actual Open Meeting Act. I would ask if you would stand with us and join in a moment of silence and as well the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll continue with roll call.
Coy.
Here.
Lange.
Here.
Merrill.
Here.
Clausen.
Here.
Murren.
Here.
Brenneman.
Here.
Faust.
Here.
Saunders. Here.
All right. And under action, if I can have a motion to approve the consent agenda that was provided you.
So move, Your Honor. Second.
Motion with a second for approval of the consent agenda. If you will please vote.
All council persons voting in the affirmative.
Next would be approval of the full agenda as provided you in the packet.
So moved, Your Honor. Second.
Motion with a second for approval of the full agenda. Again, if you will please vote.
All council persons voting in the affirmative.
All right. And under special presentations tonight, if I could, I would like to first jump to a proclamation that is before us tonight on behalf of the Joy Group, Joy of Reading Month. Whereas reading is a skill that only gets better with practice and is essential to a child's success in school. And whereas there is more to reading than homework and class assignments. And whereas there are an endless number of fun and interesting books out there waiting to be discovered. And whereas older students can use their influence to encourage younger children to read more. And whereas Norfolk's Joy, Junior Optimist Octagon International, those members believe that they can make a difference by encouraging their peers and younger students to read more books and thus improve their reading skills. And whereas the City of Norfolk values its young service leaders in their efforts to make a difference in our community by mentoring young readers and promoting catch and release book programs. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Sue Bookman, Mayor of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2012 as the Joy of Reading Month in the City of Norfolk and encourage all citizens to take due note of the observance. Mark, I assume that you and some of the group are here to...
We could maybe take a picture. Can we do that?
Sure. Is there any one of these young people that wants to tell us about the joy of reading? You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Jordan Robinette, and I'm one of the members of Joy at the middle school. And during the Joy of Reading Month, we at the middle school are reading the book The Sapphire Night by Michael Sullivan, and the author himself has donated all the books for every kid in the school, and he will come in person or Skype with us at the end of the month, and we are taking part in the Joy of Reading Month. So we also are encouraging our people to read by asking daily comprehension questions, and every couple of days we have contests and we quiz on vocabulary words.
Well done, young lady. Anyone else that wants to come forward and speak? Or did she say it all for you? Okay. All right. As well, I want to give you since you've been the spokesperson, how about if you take this back with you, which is the actual proclamation, okay? You did a great job, and I'll bet we're going to see you as one of these council people sitting up here in the very near future. You spoke very well. You bet. Thanks for being here. Pretty impressive young lady. Sheena, you ready to follow that with a recreation update?
Actually, I'm a little scared too, so Dennis is going to do it.
We continue to make progress down at the Memorial Field project. Since the last time we poured some walls on the wave pool, we poured about half of the caisson wall and building wall for that, some of the other side walls. Thad and his crew finished roofing closing in the roof on the multipurpose building, got the insulation and sub base and some water shield up there to give us a dry spot to work with. We poured about half of the floor in the east wing of the multipurpose building. The other half will be poured tomorrow morning. The masons moved in today and started work on the interior walls in the building, so we're progressing along. All the sands in the building that needs to be there. The plumber is working in the west wing, which would be the last area that he has for his underfloor operations. With that, I guess I'd answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Any questions at all? You can ask for more. Thanks, Dennis.
You're welcome.
I also want to remind everyone that nominations are now being accepted for the 2012 Edward I. Burzel Outstanding Citizen Award. These will be accepted through February 29th at the City Administrator's Office. So do we have that actual application, do you know, out on the web?
I believe so. We can check that. Jim can check that, Mayor. We do have them available at the city offices, and we actually have one nomination in already. So.
Good. We can sure put it out there, I'm sure, Jim, right? If not already. Would you do that? Okay. That will be, this year, I think we'll go back to awarding that at the actual chamber dinner, which is in April. So. Okay, moving on to public hearings then. Public hearing first to amend section 27-202 and 203 of the official city code to change auto salvage yard from a permitted use to a conditional use in zoning district I-2 in order to be consistent with section 27-401 of the city code. I will open the public hearing and look to you, Trent.
Mayor and Council, I bring before you tonight amended change to the official city code. This is amend 27-202 and 203, as you mentioned already, which changes the auto salvage yard to a conditional use in I-2. This provides conformity with the land use matrix in 27401, which currently shows that all auto salvage yards are to be placed in zones A, C3, I1, and I2 only by a conditional use permit.
Okay. Any questions at all, Trent?
Is this going to have any effect on the salvage yards that are in place now?
No.
Okay. With that, If no further discussion, then I would ask, do we have a planning commission report on this?
The Norfolk Planning Commission held a public hearing on January 4th, 2012 for an amendment to the official city code redefining an error found in the district I-2's permitted use, section 27202, 5 in parentheses, which reads, auto salvage and junkyards, provided such yard is completely surrounded by a solid wall or fence not less than 6 feet high. Current city code language allows a salvage and junkyard as a permitted use in any I-2 zoning and is meant to match the land use matrix, which requires a conditional use permit for this type of land use. The amendment places subsection 5 into District I-2, Section 27203, conditional use, to conform with the language that is currently in Section 27401, land use matrix. This amended correction provides conformity to the official city code. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the amendment to the official city code on a 9-0 vote.
Okay. With that, I will close this hearing and look for consideration for ordinance number 5197.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
Any further discussion on this at all? Looks to be nothing more than a little bit of cleanup. So if not, you have a short title for us too, Bethany.
I do. An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to amend sections 27-202 and 27-203 of the official city code to change auto salvage yard from a permitted use to a conditional use in zoning District I-2 in order to be consistent with section 27401 of the city code, to provide when this ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for the publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
Okay, and with that, if you would please vote.
All council persons voting in the affirmative. Ordinance 5197 passes on first reading.
Your Honor, as this appears to be more of a housekeeping operation than anything else, I would move that we pass ordinance number 5197 on second and third reading and suspend the rules.
Okay, we have a motion with a second to suspend the rules and pass on second and third reading. Any further discussion? If not, please vote.
All council persons voting in the affirmative. Ordinance number 5197 passes on third reading and is adopted.
Okay, we'll move on to public hearing to comply with provisions of the NRS 18-1755 before the consummation of the purchase of property by the City of Norfolk, which property is located on the northwest corner of the intersection of Omaha Avenue and 37th Street in Norfolk. I will open the hearing and look to you, Dennis, to give us information on this.
City of Norfolk is looking to acquire the 160 acres that's on the northwest corner of Omaha Avenue and 37th Street. A couple of reasons for this acquisition is that it will provide wellhead protection for an existing well that we have that's immediately west of that property. We're also working on the design of a water line to be a redundant line from the wastewater treatment plant, and we're going to tie into the system down around 13th and Monroe. If we have this property, we'll be able to go across it probably diagonally, and we'll be able to keep our finished water from crossing any collection water system lines, and that's somewhat important so that if something would happen to either one of them lines, if you're trying to cross them, you're liable to take out both of those lines, and we're dealing with 24 to 36 inch lines, so we just thought it would be better to do that. I had conversations with the property owner. He had it on the market about 18 months ago, went back to see if he was still interested in selling, and he was interested in working with the City of Norfolk. So.
Okay. This is an open hearing here. Is there anyone else that wants to speak to this?
I think this is very important because we've been buying land around our wells for the last few years, and it's very important that we protect the water. And the more land we have around there, the more stuff is not getting put in the ground unless we are the guys that decide it. And with us going out here with our new water line, I think it's very important that we do this.
Any other discussion on this?
Yes, and the other point, Dennis, on that, if we weren't the owners of this property, we would be paying to buy some of the property to put our water line on, correct?
Correct. We'd be looking for a easement.
Good point. All right. Any other questions or discussion on this? If not, then I will close the hearing and ask for consideration of approval of a real estate purchase agreement with James and Cynthia A. Mole for the purchase of property for wellhead protection.
After finding that the Moles were interested in working with the city had an appraisal completed. The appraised amount was $928,000 was for the land and the improvements on the property. As a part of our negotiations, it was determined that Mr. Mole didn't own the power plant that provided power to the well. It's a diesel engine and a gasoline tank there, so was able to acquire everything except those two pieces of personal property that he didn't own. So for a price of $928,000, roughly $5,800 an acre. So.
I'll make the motion, Your Honor.
Second.
Motion with a second for the approval of the real estate purchase. Please vote.
All council persons voting in the affirmative.
Okay. Moving on then to a public hearing to amend Section 27-164, 174, 198, 204, and 214 of the official city code to change references in those sections from zoning district C-0 to zoning district R-O. I will open the public hearing, and again, Trent will housekeeping.
Mayor and council, once again tonight, on those that you mentioned, 164, 174, 198, 204, and 214, this provides conformity again to the official city code, changes those old references. CO zoning was used back in the early 90s, I do believe, and is no longer in effect and is no longer a zone in the city of Norfolk, and that converted over to RO. So we're just changing them.
Okay, very good. Again, public hearing. Any other discussion or necessary information from Trent? All right, with that then I will look for a report from you. Planning Commission report.
The Norfolk Planning Commission held a public hearing on January 18th, 2012 for an amendment to the official city code amending sections 27-164, 174, 198, 204, and 214 of the official city code to change references in those sections from zoning district CO to zoning district RO. Prior to the current city zoning code, a CO zoning district existed. This zoning district was eliminated with the approval of the new zoning code in 2002. However, references to a CO district remained in the new code. This amendment replaces all CO references with the current existing RO zoning district. The Planning Commission recommends approval of the amendment to the official city code on a 6-0 vote.
All right, and with that, we will close this public hearing and look for consideration of ordinance number 5198, amending those sections.
So moved, Your Honor.
Second.
We have a motion with a second. How about a short title, Beth?
An ordinance of the City of Norfolk, Nebraska to amend sections 27-164, 27-174, 27-198, 27-204, and 27-214 of the official city code to change references in those sections from zoning district CO to zoning district RO, to provide when the ordinance shall be in full force and effect, and to provide for the publication of this ordinance in pamphlet form.
And if you will please vote.
All council persons voting in the affirmative. Ordinance 5198 passes on first reading.
Your Honor, due to the fact that this is basically housekeeping, I'd recommend that we suspend the rules and pass ordinance 5198 on second and third.
Second that, Your Honor.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and pass on second and third. If no further discussion, please vote.
All council persons voting in the affirmative, ordinance number 5198 is adopted.
Okay, and with that, seeing nothing further on the agenda, we are adjourned.
You didn't even get him. Oh,
She's taking my thunder away.
Yep.
So you know when you want to show up.
The only thing I'm